in my eyes, I think they've already overpaid for the property because we don't know what those other factors are. Hey guys, Sean Bloomquist, Pine Financial Group, where we work together so you succeed. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. We want to make sure you're up to date on all the content we're putting out. Today I've got my good friend Justin Cooper here with me. We're going to talk about 3 mistakes that we see rehabbers make quite often on properties, and it ends up hurting them in the long run.
Yeah, I think, Sean, one of the first things that comes to mind, and something we probably deal with all day, every day, being hard money lenders, lending fix and flippers money, is talking to investors who don't run their numbers. Understanding the numbers is the most important thing when you're investing in real estate. You have to know the purchase price, the repairs, the after repair value. You have to understand the profitability. And so many times folks come to us and they haven't done that.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times somebody comes to me, I've got this great deal. I'm going to make so much money on this and everything else. And all they tell me is what they've got it under contract for. My first question is, okay, well, how much to rehab it? What's the ARV? They can't answer that question yet. And in my eyes, I think they've already overpaid for the property because we don't know what those other factors are.
Exactly. That's unfortunately the first thing that comes to mind. As soon as somebody comes to us with a deal and they don't have all the numbers, we're just assuming that there's been mistakes made. Now, of course, we dive a little deeper to see if they really did, see if there's ways we can help them out with the project. But there's some other numbers that folks forget all the time. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and they don't even think about the closing costs.
Yeah.
Because there's closing costs when you're buying a property and when you're selling the property, as well as the holding costs while you're doing the project. And if you leave out any of those 3 numbers, it completely throws off the profitability of your deal.
Yeah, and you can go on our channel on YouTube and find other videos on how to do the Mayo formula, the max allowable offer. This is essentially walking you through those steps, figuring out the ARV, figuring out the rehab, and then working your way backwards into that purchase price so you're not overpaying from the start.
Absolutely. What do you think the second biggest mistake folks make?
Well, the second biggest mistake that I see people make is not having enough liquidity or enough reserves. You know, you work with someone like Pine Financial, it is true that we can get you into a deal for no money down sometimes, but that doesn't mean you don't need any money. You still need to have some reserves in the back because guess what? You're probably going to go over your budget no matter how much due diligence you did. There's always going to be an unknown that comes into play, right? Or it may take you a little bit longer to sell the property than you were expecting. So you've got holding costs, things like that. Plus, you've got to live your life. I mean, I like eating ramen, but I don't want to eat it every single day because I'm broke, right?
Exactly. So part of what we do as hard money lenders, it's literally our tagline, working together so you succeed, is unfortunately we have some clients who haven't succeeded. Mm-hmm. And when we look back as to what happened on those projects, generally it's because they ran out of money.
Yeah.
So when hard money lenders say it takes money to make money, you got to have some money, not necessarily in the deal or have skin in the game or big down payments, but you got to have some money somewhere so that when your project goes over budget, when you have to order cabinets on day 1, but you're not going to get the draw for a couple of weeks, you have the money to take care of that and keep your project moving.
Yeah, it is one of our requirements that you do have a certain amount of reserves. And it is a vital piece in this whole thing. I mean, obviously we're trying to find good deals and everything else, but we want to make sure that you're set up to succeed because we don't want you getting into it 3 or 4 months in and all of a sudden, hey, Sean, I'm out of money and the furnace went out. What do I do? I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a monumental amount of money, so don't let that hold you back. Don't let it stop you from picking up the phone or dropping us an email, but just know that you got to have some money. And if not you, maybe a partner, but you got to have some money, a cushion somewhere as a safety net as you go through the project.
Yeah, that's the great part about it. A partner is always a key piece to get you around over that hump if you need it. So we've gone through those top 2. We've gone through the running the numbers. We've gone through having the reserves. What do you think number 3 is?
Over improving the property.
Oof.
We see this all the time, right? So that's one of the reasons that we want to take a look at your scope of work. 1, to make sure that you're doing enough work, but then also to make sure you're not doing too much work.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing can kill a deal faster than putting too much money into it, right? If you get too invested in the project, you start seeing yourself living in the house. You want to improve it to what you want. I know you love those heated toilet seats and everything.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't
you? Don't have to have those in a fix and flip, right? That's not a requirement for most buyers. So if you save some of that money, look around, where can I maybe save some money, not go over the top? That's going to help you have good numbers and a good profitable deal.
Yeah, one of the things you brought up that stuck in my head right away is remember that you're not living in this property. You're trying to make it appealing to the whole market, not just for what you would want. because inevitably you're going to end up overspending if you're thinking that way, like you're going to be living in that property. So let's get this thing done, make it look nice, obviously, make it marketable, and get rid of it as soon as possible, make that profit. You got anything else to bring up?
No, if you keep those 3 tips in mind, I think you'll be well on your way to having a good, successful fix and flip.
If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at pinefinancialgroup.com.